Okay, so in this video, I'm going to walk you through how to create an API for your application. This API can be read or write, whatever you want, and it can be anything you want. So what I'm going to do, this is the application. So what you're going to do is go into the dashboard, and you're gonna first make sure that you used your application and that you have data in it. So then you're going to go into so for example, you can create a record. So in my case, I already created a lead. So go ahead and use your application and make sure you have records in the database you want to use. So then what we're going to do is go to the dashboard and then click here your data and see data. So that will take you to the database, the table that the application is doing. So we're using the leads table. So what we're going to do is we want to check which database is in the lead. So I'm just going to search here for leads, and you see that it's here. So it is in the database, app database, and the table leads. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to chat, and then we're going to create now an API for that database. So what we're going to go is add skills, we're going to go, add skills, webhook, and that will generate a webhook for us. So let's say that we just want to create an API that returns the data. What we're going to do is click add, other databases, app databases, and then we're going to search for the leads, click leads, and I'm going to tell it to create an automation that returns the data. So we're going to let it generate the code 1 second. Once it finishes generating the code, we'll continue. Okay, so once it's ready, what we want to do is click here, run step, make sure everything is working. So it is working correctly. So now we're going to use the API and make sure it's working. So I'm going to go to my Postman, and I'm just going to paste this in a new tab to make sure it returns the data correctly. By default, all calls have to be post. So we're going to make sure, and it's returning the data correctly, so it is working. So I'm going to go back into my application, and then what we want to do is we want to create another API, but this one is for writing into it. So we're going to create another webhook, and then I'm going to copy it again. So once we copy it, because we're creating a webhook that writes into the database, we want to make sure we send the data first. So we're going to go into Postman and just paste the webhook and make sure you have post here. And then so I'm going to use this as an example, but in the body, you want to, in a JSON format, you want to paste the data that you want to send into the database. And you want to, make sure that both the ID and the key are unique. They could be the same value, they don't have to be, but you want to make sure that you have these two values. And then you can send whatever data you want to be in that record. And then I'm going to send the data, wait for a response. It should respond at 200, status 200. So now I'm going to go back into application, and we're going to see that the data has arrived. So if it hasn't arrived, what you're going to want to do is click refresh, and that you should see the data. So I'm just going to close this and tell the AI, create an automation that saves the data into other databases, and we're going to search for the database that we're using, which is apps. So we're going to apps database, and then we're going to search for leads again, and I'm going to tell it use the incoming data and save the data into the database. So now I'm going to let it run, and it's going to start generating the code. We're going to give it a few minutes for it to generate the code, and then we're going to test it, make sure it's working, and we're going to add a few records. Okay, so once you're done, you want to make sure it's working. So I'm just going to run this step, make sure it's working. And you're going to see here that it returns correctly, and you have a message success. So now we're going to go into the database just to make sure we added the record correctly. And you can validate the data here. So for example, we can run another test, and I'm just going to add a number here, change the numbers to make sure it's working. I'm gonna change some numbers. I'm gonna tell test Pradesh, and I'm just gonna send. Make sure it's working. We just see a response like this, and we refresh the data in the database. We're gonna see the new record. So you see here that it is working correctly and everything is fine.